Hi, it's Laurie Morse with Create Your Health Naturally. We're going to do a release process through tapping, which your body doesn't resist because it's used to things beating and pulsing in your body, like your heart beats and your blood is pulsing. And it's just a simple and elegant way of removing subconscious behaviors, this tapping method that we're going to do together here shortly. And how do you know if you have subconscious issues? Well, two main reasons. One is that 90% of what drives all human beings is at the subconscious level. And two, if you've ever said something like you were going to do something, like maybe stop eating sugar, and then you find yourself eating cookies before you even realize it, you can know that that was driven by your subconscious. So those are two very clear reasons. And we make associations with food from day one, coming out of the womb. Food is love and nurturing and comfort. So food is a big deal to us, and it started from the very beginning. I personally don't know anyone who doesn't have some level of compulsion around food. For example, if a food is calling you, you know that feeling like come, come, or if you feel the need to rush a particular food, that is a subconscious drive, and this tapping process can thwart that. So, and you can use it anytime and almost anywhere, you'll see. I'm going to take you through just a very simple release process while tapping, and I'll show you what points to tap on so that you can see them visually each point. And be sure and give me your name and email so that I can send you a Create Your Health Naturally tapping to release document so that you can print it and have it as a cheat sheet and just carry it with you so that you can do this whenever it's necessary, whenever something comes up. We're actually tapping points along acupuncture meridians that have been studied and researched and found to rapidly release these subconscious beliefs and emotions that keep us stuck. And this allows the body to rebalance, access healing, and be able to make good choices. So let's get to it. If you notice for some reason that when you're doing this, either on this video with me or on your own, and you're becoming overly distressed, it doesn't happen often, but it just keep breathing deeply and stop tapping if that would make you feel better, and find a practitioner to work with. I do this all the time with people. It just simply means that deeper layers of pain are coming to the surface and you may not be able to move it on your own. But take responsibility for your healing journey. That's a really important component. We all need help with that, and just know that you might want to engage someone to actually facilitate the release of some of those deeper layers that you may or may not have known you even had. So okay, so now I have the sheet. I'm going to be using the sheet as my cheat sheet, that if you want it for yourself, you can, I'll send it to you and you can download. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick one particular issue, and you really want to work with one issue at a time. So whether it's sugar cravings or overeating or making poor food choices, even though you know what you should be doing, you can pick any one. But for this example, let's just pick releasing the craving for sugar and having issues around sugar, because almost everyone has that. So we'll go ahead and use that as our example. And what I'll do is I'll show you each point first, and then we're going to make a statement while tapping that point, and then we'll move on to the next. And it's just that simple. And I'm going to recommend that you do this as often as you need to, because you'll release a lot of stuff in a very short period of time. Stuff you didn't even know you had. Anytime we get tripped or seduced or called or allured by a food, there is usually a subconscious component to that. For example, I'll give you this example. I got my tonsils out when I was 11, and I remember so vividly craving and eating tortilla chips because it just felt so good to have those chips go down and scratch my throat. Some people craved ice cream. I'm not really an ice cream person. I'm more of a cookie and candy girl. But anyway, I've resolved all of that at this point. But those chips were so relieving to my throat, and I didn't realize it, but I've been obsessed with tortilla chips for a long time. And then I realized, oh, that was the trigger, or that was the association, is that it felt good when I was healing from my tonsillectomy to have tortilla chips. So I treated that with this process that we're going to go through, and I don't even crave tortilla chips. They can sit in the house. I can walk by a bowl, go to a Mexican restaurant with people, not eat them. I mean, they just don't own me anymore, and that's what I want for you on any of these food items that might own you. Okay, so our first point is it's called the karate chop point, and it's just right on the outside of your hand. And if you were to loosely make a fist, there's a deep grooved line there, and it's on both sides. So why it's called the karate chop point is because you're actually just going to kind of tap those 2 points together. And what we're going to say when we're doing this karate chop point, so just find those points and start tapping them now. And there's a point in this statement I'm going to make where I want you to know you can use the word higher power or universe or divine mother earth or God or whatever word works for you. And this is the statement: I am willing to release this issue of craving sugar to higher power, to transform it and my relationship to it, and never receive it back again. So that's the statement, and you say that statement while you're tapping these points. And it's that simple. That's that statement, and that's that point. That's the tapping of that point. So the next point we're going to tap or rub. You can tap or rub, actually, is this. It's called the heart point, and it's just a spot on the left side, just above your breast or nipple if you're a man. And you know, there's usually a spot that's pretty sore, and if you just tap around this area or rub it, you're going to get it. So don't worry about that. And the statement that we say is: even though I have this issue of craving sugar, I totally and completely am willing to love, forgive, and accept myself. And that's the statement for that point. The next point, there's a point at the very top of the head, and you can use a couple of fingers, 2 or 3 fingers, and you're just going to tap around in a circle at the top of your head. Again, it's not, you don't have to get it so perfect. It's, you're going to hit the spot enough through the time that you're tapping. You want to tap for about 30 seconds. Some people tap for up to a minute, but you'll know, like when you're kind of getting, your mind is wandering or something after you've said the statement, if you're done. But it is nice to say the statement while you're tapping and then take a nice deep breath. So the next statement is: I bring in healing light from the greater good to move in, through, and around every particle of my being around this issue of craving sugar, and I'm asking for healing for the highest good. Good. The next point are the points on the at where your eyebrows end at the inside, just on the top of the bridge of your nose there. And I usually use my middle finger when I'm tapping these points. Some of these points on the face, just probably because my finger's long. That's the longest finger. And you can alternate tapping, one at a time, or you can tap both of them at the same time. It doesn't really matter. For our video, I'm just going to tap one of them so I don't have all this hand action going on while I'm saying the statement. But you should tap both of them, and you can do them alternating or you can do them together. And the statement is: I release all the sadness and grief in, through, and around every particle of my being around this issue of craving sugar. Good. All right, and the next point, again, I use my middle finger, is right under the eye. So there's a bone here, and if you just fall just below that bone, there's a little divot that you might be able to feel, and you can tap right under there. I'm going to try not to get my glasses clinking, and I'll just use the one while I'm saying the statement, but you tap both of them. I release all the anger, frustration, and fear in, through, and around every particle of my being around this issue of craving sugar. Excellent. All right, so the next point is a point that's in the middle here below your nose and at your chin. But we're going to use 2 fingers and we're just going to tap both of them at the same time, kind of do double duty here. And the statement is, I release all the guilt, shame, and embarrassment in, through, and around every particle of my being around this issue of craving sugar. Good. And I like to actually, when I'm doing the breath after the tapping, I like to envision that everything that's just been sort of released in, through, and around every particle of my being, I'm in my exhale, and as I soften my body, I'm actually releasing all of that. It's just transforming as all energy does. It's energy I no longer need. It's energy you no longer need. You're upgrading your system. You're transforming this particular block that has been stuck with you for longer than necessary, and it's transforming into different and more of higher energy for you to be made available to you to use at a higher level. Okay, the next point is right below your collarbone. So if you were to go to the center of your chest and just follow that collarbone out just a little ways, there's a divot. You know, these points actually, when you feel them enough, you can feel like, oh yeah, my finger just kind of falls right into that. And you can use a few fingers to tap it, again, alternately, or at the same time. So I'll just do this one side while we read the statement. I release all the hurt and pain to myself and others in, through, and around every particle of my being around this issue of craving sugar. Okay, and the next point is under your arms, so it's about 4 inches below your armpits, and you can just use, the sides of your hands to tap that point. You can also kind of do a self-hug and use your fingers to tap on the side as well. I'm just going to go like this for our time together. I forgive everyone I blamed for this, including myself and the higher power. All communications and connections related to this are completing now. All parts of me that were involved in this are healing now. Anything else related to this is healing now. Okay, good. Now, we're going to put one palm to our forehead, and the other hand is going to go to the back of your head so that the bottom of your hand here is just above your hairline. So that hand will be there. This hand will be on the front of your forehead. This is actually a very stress-reducing thing to do for your system. It signals your system that it can calm down and it is safe. And I'm telling you, so much of our drives to eat, our unconscious drives, are because our system is in a stress response. And being in a stress response shuts down digestion and it makes nutrients unavailable. And then the body is really literally scavenging for 2 things, nutrients and fuel. Because it needs fuel to walk you across the parking lot. Your brain needs fuel to be thinking about your to-do list, which is stressful in and of itself, right? But your body needs the fuel, but if it's not available because it's in a stress response, it really turns things upside down. And that is one of the main reasons that our digestive systems and our cravings are hard to overcome, because the stress response is like our first block. It's the first roadblock to even having success on giving up sugar or being on a healthy diet or lifestyle, I should say. I don't really like to call it a diet, but aligning ourselves with healthy nutrition for life. Is the stress response drives us to find fuel. Sugar is a very fast fuel. It turns to fuel right away. but the body's favored fuel is actually fat. And of course, we all would like to give up more of our fat for fuel. It's much more efficient for the body. So we have to switch we have to switch the groove that we're offering our body for efficient fuel from sugar burning to fat burning. And so this is a very simple and elegant way of just letting the body, signaling the body that we can relax and we're safer than maybe we're reacting to from the inside in our stress response. So go ahead and place your hands like this, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to have you imagine your ideal scenario in your mind's eye while you're holding your hands here and breathing. And for an example, an ideal scenario might be being able to walk past the freezer that you know there's a pint of ice cream in, or walk past a plate of cookies, or only eat one bite of cake at the wedding instead of shoveling the whole thing in, or walking past the bowl of M&Ms or the donuts that someone brought in at the office and not being pulled toward it, not feeling like you have to eat all of it or more of it beyond what you know would be, beyond your limit, beyond moderation for your body. So just visualize that ideal scenario for yourself. I'm not going to do an example because everyone will be different. So we're just going to take a minute. I'm going to do 3 breaths and let you envision that in your mind's eye, which is a very powerful force, your mind's eye. So make sure you use it for for what you want rather than worrying about what you don't want, because it works just as powerfully both ways. So go ahead and take 3 breaths and envision your ideal scenario around, in this example, we're doing the release of craving of sugar. I'm telling you, this works so good. I can walk past just about anything when I do this process that we're doing here together. So don't don't sell it short. It really does work. Okay, so then the next and the last one is placing our hands over our heart. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, which hand over which, but this is also a very calming thing to our nervous system, and it signals that we're safe when we have our hands like this. So just very simply place your hands over your heart, and this is our statement. I bring in healing light to every particle of my being. Now, I'm going to say that statement 3 times, and what this piece is asking is that we maintain our vision that you just did in this one, and you're going to breathe. Exhale with some good strength while saying the statement. It's kind of like you have to practice this, like, patting your head while chewing gum and walking. It takes, just a time or two before you can go, yeah, okay, I got the groove of that. So you have your hands on your heart. You're going to be breathing with some strength, envisioning your ideal scenario, and we'll be saying 3 times. So I'm going to do this now. I bring in healing light to every particle of my being. I bring in healing light to every particle of my being. I bring in healing light to every particle of my being. Good. So this is the process that you can use daily, or use it when you feel like you're going to be called to a binge. If you trip and you eat something that you had intended not to, don't worry. We're human. It's, you can use this process to forgive yourself, and nobody is perfect. We're looking for progress, not perfection. You'll see progress if you use this regularly, and be sure and email me or give me a call if you need further support. I treat people by phone or Skype or in person all the time to help them overcome some of their tougher blocks. So Laurie Morse signing off with Create Your Health Naturally.